Now that you've found UBN Radio and discovered our quality talk shows, it's time to spread the word to friends, family, and the universe. 24 hours of music and talk. Radio without limits. That's why people keep coming back for more. That's ubnradio.com.
Knowing that we apply common sense to other issues in our society, specifically like holding irresponsible people accountable for their actions when they drink and drive and kill somebody, and we do that without restricting control of cars and cell phones to the rest of us, the good guys, why then do you and Hillary want to control and restrict and limit gun manufacturers, gun owners, and the responsible use of guns and ammunition to the rest of us, the good guys, instead of holding the bad guys accountable for their actions? And
first of all, the notion that I or Hillary or Democrats or whoever you want to choose are hell-bent on taking away folks' guns is just not true. And I don't care how many times the NRA says it. I'm about to leave office. There have been more guns sold since I've been president than just about any time in U.S. history. There are enough guns for every man, woman, and child in this country. And at no point have I ever proposed confiscating guns from responsible gun owners. So it's just not true. What I have said is precisely what you suggested, which is, why don't we treat this like every other thing that we use? I just came from a meeting today in the Situation Room in which I've got people who we know have been on ISIL websites, living here in the United States, U.S. citizens, and we're allowed to put them on the no-fly list when it comes to airlines. But because of the National Rifle Association, I cannot prohibit those people from buying a gun. This is somebody who is a known ISIL sympathizer, and if he wants to walk in to a gun store or a gun show right now and buy as many weapons as ammo as he can, nothing's prohibiting him from doing that, even though the FBI knows who that person is. So, sir, I just have to say respectfully that there is a way for us to have common sense gun laws. There is a way for us to make sure that lawful, responsible gun owners like yourself are able to use it for sporting, hunting, protecting yourself. But the only way we're going to do that is if we don't have a situation in which anything that is proposed is viewed as some tyrannical destruction of the Second Amendment. And that's how the issue too often gets framed.
You can.
There he was.
Good man.
Yeah.
Our leader.
Welcome to all of our friends around the country and around the world. Welcome to another edition of Focus with Ron Frierson. I am your host, Ron Frierson. Joined here to my left, my brother, Mr. Woody Wilson. Say hi to the people.
What's going on, Ron? How you doing, man? A lot of tragedy going on in the world today.
It's been an incredible week, and it's been crazy. So what I want to do first is talk about the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is that we had a tragedy of 49 people in Orlando were killed. They were gunned down in a nightclub in Orlando, and over 50 were wounded. And this is the largest in regards to body count mass shooting that we've had in the United States. And so whenever we have these things, which I believe is the 10th that the president has experienced during his time in the White House.
That's ridiculous.
We
Crazy.
always have to go to everybody runs to a certain corner. And in this case, there's 3 corners, it seems. Okay, so one is terrorism, obviously, because the suspect who committed these crimes and ultimately killed themselves. I think they were shot down by the authorities. Well, anyway, that person had a Muslim name and claimed some sort of allegiance to ISIS. So we have the terrorism part of it. We have the part where people run towards gun control because of the types of ammunition and the type of firepower that a lot of these mass shooters use during the course of committing these heinous acts are things, and the way they can access these weapons is relatively easy. And so it always comes to the fore. What always comes to the fore is whether or not it's just too simple for people to get guns in the United States. And the president, in the clip that we just showed, the reason I showed that is because that clip was it's a few months old. This happened before all of the happenings of this past week. And I tend to agree with the president on this. And yes, I'm a Democrat. Yes, I am very socially liberal, but that doesn't mean I agree with the president on everything. And we'll talk about some of the things I disapprove or I disagree with them on later in the show. But in regards to the gun control issue, I completely agree with him in that there should be tighter restrictions on weapons, types of weapons, and even ammunition. And the example that he used in that video clip was wherein to be able to drive a car, you need to get a driver's license. You have to take a driving test. You have to prove in many ways, shapes, and forms that you are competent enough to drive a car and understand that you are behind the wheel of something that could be a killing machine. A weapon. But to get a gun, none of these things are necessary, and which makes absolutely no sense. And no matter how much of a sportsman you are, or if you want to use it for hunting, or if you want to use it for protection, no one needs something that would normally be used by a soldier that can wipe out an entire village. So that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah.
So those are 2 of the corners. The other corner that we run to is the pro-gun people, mostly on the right, the NRA advocates
who are afraid they're going to have their guns taken.
Yeah, who are for the Second Amendment defendants, who always feel as if the Second Amendment will somehow be under jeopardy, and so they rally around protecting the Second Amendment without understanding that there's some wiggle room in there. You can still uphold the Second Amendment, but at the same time curtail some of the firepower that's unleashed onto the public, and that sometimes finds its way into the hands of people who are
the wrong people.
Yeah. So, and then we have another corner. This was terrorism, but also the fact that it affected the gay community. So the homophobic type of mentality came out. I understand that there was a county in Alabama that refused to put its flags at half mast,
really,
because they didn't agree with the lifestyle of those homosexuals that were killed.
There goes our federal funding.
Yeah, and there's also a pastor somewhere out here in California, I want to say down in the Orange County area, that I saw on television the other day, who was saying really disgusting things about how this killer may have done the right thing because of the types of people that he mowed down.
That he may have done the right thing?
Yeah, saying that, he wished that more homosexuals and that's just wrong. I mean, people are people, and that's just wrong.
Yeah.
So you have all these different factions, so to speak, that run to their side. You pick and choose which one fits you and fits your beliefs and values. But if you are a little bit more, in my opinion, if you're a little bit more on the evolved, logical side, I think that the gun control route would probably be the corner that you would go into, which is the corner I'm in. And I think that it's about time for us to do something about this. And
yeah, I mean, it's past time we do something
absolutely.
about this.
I understand that in President Obama's tenure as president, there's been more guns sold in the United States than any time in history. During a given administration. Yeah,
the first 6 months of his office skyrocketed the numbers. I think people just were afraid that the world was coming to an end because he was the first African American president, or whatever the reason was. But
and it's crazy. And I mean, fear and the NRA. It's so much of what goes on in the world is built around fear of what could happen. We have a caller in already, and I'm expecting one call in, and maybe this is that call. Caller, could you give us your name and the city you're calling in from?
My name's Kevin Robinson. I'm calling from Orlando.
How you doing, Kevin?
Kevin, thank you for calling in. I wanted Kevin to call in. Kevin lives in Orlando, and he can provide us some insight that we don't, from people that don't live there, can't really see about what's going on and all the inner workings of what this does to a community, what it does to the psyche of the people, and what they think from inside. How do they think about our perception from the outside and whether or not we're getting an accurate portrayal of what's going on in the city. So, Kevin, thank you for calling in. So what's going on?
No problem.
How's it going down there?
A couple of things. A friend of mine, it's fun, like a month ago, we were talking about going out. And he was like, look, I don't want to go out because people are getting killed in the club. So it's funny now that the media is here. Mm-hmm. But if you do some whatever, I mean, people have been getting killed in the clubs here for probably about the last year or whatever. So
it's down in Orlando
here. Now this is a one-off right now because I mean I'm listening to the media like everybody else. But the thing that bothers me though, I will say this first is like I'm not big on being a part of the story. I mean, if there's violence here, I mean, if you look at the statistics, 36 people are killed every day by guns. So I mean, we have an issue here that's way bigger than Orlando. But my issue with Orlando is like everybody wants to be a part of the story right now. And this is, I mean, there's things that we can do right now to help, and I mean, this guy should never have been able to buy a gun ever, based on his history, based on his record, based on some of the things he said, based on the gun. He tried to buy a vest. Yeah. And the guy wasn't even savvy enough to get his information, because I mean, so I mean, we gotta look.
And he was under investigation.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I said, and he was under investigation. Yeah, but go ahead. Yeah, absolutely, I agree with you. So you said you mentioned folks getting shot in clubs. Are you saying in Orlando this was occurring prior to the incident? Is that what you were associating?
Yeah, not at this level. I mean, not to the number of people that died, but as far as people being shot and shot at.
Right.
No, this is something that's a problem. I mean, it's a gun issue. I mean, and I gotta be honest, man. I've never been one to want to own a gun. I bought it 6 months ago because of the issue.
Right.
And in Florida, as far as home invasions, I mean, we lead the nation as far as home invasions and things like that.
Yeah.
But
and you've got that stand your ground law down there.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go on, Kevin.
No, the fun thing is we're in such a hysterical moment right now. Like I landed here on Sunday, because I had a business trial trip. And so as soon as I landed, I said, you know what, I'm going to get my carry and conceal. Because I said, I'll never be in a situation where I will not be without my gun, because I have a gun. I bought it 6 months ago. And so now you can't even get in a class right now. I mean, I got to wait about a month to get into a class to be able to carry my gun.
So you can get a carry and conceal weapon in Florida that easily. Just take a class and it's legal. Is that what you're saying?
No, you take a class. You got to go through the background investigation.
Right.
But this guy that killed everybody was a security officer. So
exactly.
I mean,
so tell me this, Kevin.
Broken. I mean,
Kevin, tell me this. I got a question for you. So, in short, it's a gun culture, and Florida is the South, and there's a gun culture in the South, and so, however, the issue is the gun, but also what takes us to another level is the fact that this person had a Muslim name. So that's where the terrorism aspect becomes involved. And once you put that into the picture, it gets an entirely different level of notoriety. Now, this would have been terrible in any way, shape, or form, but then you add into it an Islamic name with it that takes it to an entirely different.
And plus his claim that it was
it goes back to, but what you did, Kevin, that was great and logical, is that you still broke it down to a gun issue. You didn't get distracted with the fact that it is terrorism, which it is. You didn't get distracted.
Well, no. I'm almost at the point now where this guy, from my understanding, frequented this club, and he was on all the gay websites.
That got debunked.
I'm
that
not
got
even
debunked.
Sure if this isn't a gay-on-gay violence thing, to be honest with you. I mean, who's to say that, he's not just using this cause? I mean, there are some things. I mean, he did say, I heard that he said that he was, Osama bin Laden was his uncle, and so he's always had some kind of ties to that radical background. But I'm just saying, if you're going to go kill someone, I've never seen. I watch a lot of stuff, and I read a lot. But I've never seen someone, go on the websites and frequent bars, and so I'm not even sure this guy just wasn't gay, and he just couldn't come to terms on it. So I'm not even trying to put I can't even I can't wrap I can't even understand the whole.
Yeah. So that being said, it still comes from. So okay, whether or not it's terrorism, whether or not he was a self-hating homophobe, and all that stuff aside, the point is that whoever does something like this doesn't have all their screws upstairs. Yeah. So that means that the people that are dangerous, violently dangerous, people like him, they shouldn't have access to weapons of this type that are allowed to be on the streets, so they can make this type of carnage, so they can commit this type of heinous act on.
Well, my question is this. Though, okay, the weapons that they're using for some of these crimes, they're not hunting weapons. There's no real reason for them other than war. So I can't. I mean, Obama has tried his best to get legislation passed to limit that, and so it just shows you how powerful the NRA is. When it comes to this issue, because they're basically saying, I don't really care. That it makes our country safer. They're saying that as long as they can buy guns and that's the most important thing, and I can buy your vote, and and it doesn't matter what country is safe or not, and that's the issue. I mean,
right.
I listen to what John
McCain said. John McCain.
Yeah. Oh my goodness!
Trying to blame Obama.
I'm embarrassed by the Republicans right now. There's no rhyme or reason to understand. I get that Trump appeals to the uneducated and the rich. But I can't understand how America isn't wise, isn't smarter.
Yeah.
It baffles me.
Well,
Thanks,
Kevin,
man.
Kevin, thank you for calling in. I really appreciate you. And so I really wanted to hear what you were thinking about this, especially being there, and also the thing about the kid being snatched by the alligator. Right now, Orlando is not the place to be. I'm sorry. And the Orlando Magic suck. So
that's a whole nother conversation.
But thank you for calling in, my brother.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
I'm gonna call in when y'all talk about Detroit, because Detroit, Pistons. Let me know when that show comes up, because I love to know why they can't win. All right, let me know when that show comes up.
All right, I'll let you know.
All right.
Hey, have a great weekend, Kevin. Thank you.
Take care. Bye bye.
Y'all take care.
All right, you too. Kevin made some good points, and coming from Florida, living there, which he does, obviously. It's a gun culture in the South that maybe people in other parts of the country aren't quite familiar with.
Yeah.
Me personally, I don't want to own a gun. I just don't.
Well, if you live in Florida, you almost have to. They have that stand your ground rule.
Well, you don't have to just because you have to stand your ground rule.
If everyone else has a gun, it's pretty much. So I'm saying protect yourself. So here we go with gun laws again. I have a gun. I'm a gun owner. And I go to the range. I practice consistently just to be able to protect my family in case there's a need. That's why I have a gun.
But you saying you can't fight?
Yeah, I can fight. I know kung fu, man.
Okay, so see, that's the thing. Guns to me, and I have gun lovers in my family, and I have friends like you who own guns. I don't really want to have one, and I guess there are statistics that show that if you own a gun, you're more likely to have some sort of gun violence happen to you.
Well,
more so than if you don't own one.
Yeah, if you drive a car, you're more likely to get in a car accident. But the fact about it is, that I have people to protect. So it's greater than myself.
Yeah.
So if you're in that position where you're a single person, maybe you don't see the value behind it. But to protect my home,
you make a good point there.
I would hate for someone to break into my home and I'm not able to protect
And you know what, we're going into that slippery slope of what the NRA says,
exactly.
which is trying to somehow saying that the Second Amendment is not necessary. So let me backtrack. It's perfectly fine to own a gun now.
Absolutely.
What the issue is whether or not we need these assault weapons. So
gun
the assault weapon. I don't know, Jarvis, can you look up when the assault weapon ban expired? Well, expired. And then it wasn't renewed, or Congress dropped it or something.
Yeah.
But they
limited the amount of bullets that could go into an automatic weapon.
I think it's not just that; it's the type of weapons and maybe the size of the magazines.
AK-47.
So the assault weapons. It was like 2004. So 2004, that's when the assault weapon ban expired. Okay. So now
you can legally get an assault weapon?
You can legally get assault weapons. So the types of weapons that are used in the theater of war are now available to casual citizens.
Oh, that's right, because they made them from automatic to semi-automatic. Mm-hmm. So the amount of bullets that can discharge out of that weapon has been reduced, and you can't sell a fully automatic assault weapon. So so there's been some amendment to the law.
Well, I'm not was well versed. You may be more well versed on the specifics of it but in general, it's that the ban that was placed on assault weapons is now lifted. So that means that assault weapons are now readily available to people that can, to consumers that can go and buy. Yeah. Now, I'm not sure if there's any sort of restrictions on the magazines or the ammunition, but obviously it's not enough, and we could use tighter restrictions on these types of weapons. Now, all that being said, would that have helped them in Orlando?
No.
It may have helped some.
I mean,
because it reduces the amount of carnage for one.
Well, his wasn't an automatic. His was still semi, so he was just pulling the trigger. So he was, for each person that was shot, he actually pulled the trigger as opposed to holding it down and bullets flying.
And another thing was that President Obama said in that first snippet, he also said that they have people that are on the terrorist watch list that can't fly, on a no-fly list, but at the same time, these people can legally go and buy weapons.
Yeah, that's crazy.
See, these are all things wherein Congress can budge and make things a little bit more difficult for people to get certain weapons or to get
isn't it common sense to have a waiting period in every state across America?
Yeah, it's common sense, but they don't really deal with common sense. They deal with money and the NRA. I understand that John McCain is like the second,
he's blaming Obama, John McCain.
Yeah, he blamed Obama, but at the same time, maybe it's a knee-jerk reaction because if you look at the contributions that the NRA has made towards PACs, political action committees, and made towards campaigns, John McCain over the last few years has received more money from the NRA than anyone else in Congress.
Of course.
They are a major political donor of his, and so he's going to say something to deflect off the NRA because, for the most part, he's in their pocket. Right. Which is, and John McCain has some great attributes, what he did for this country and in the Vietnam War.
He's a true hero.
He's a true hero. But he's wrong in this one, and no one's perfect, and that's one thing about our country, and that's something that we need to really take heed of, is that no one's perfect, and the way our media is, the way our policies are, we have very, very smart people that could run for office, but they don't want to go through the rigorous sort of tabloid journalism where every little thing is brought up. They just don't want it, so they don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, so can't blame them either.
In this type of environment, we may not have been able to have an Abraham Lincoln, because Abraham Lincoln was a manic depressive. He was kind of emotionally unstable. He seriously, if you read some of the historical documents on Abraham Lincoln, he had this, obviously he was a genius, but at the same time he had some personal things he was dealing with, the death of his son, and him and his wife had a terrible marriage. All these things in this day and age, we may miss out on Abraham Lincoln. Some of our forefathers, they had all types of stuff going on, FDR, JFK. If they lived in this day and age where people felt as if they had the right to know every little thing about a person's life, then maybe we would have missed out on some of the greatest presidents we've had in the past. So this is why I think the for-profit media, the 24-hour media cycle where they have to constantly feed the beast, and how they have to compete these days with tabloid journalism to get the viewers so they can get the ads. It's just opening us up to entertainment more so than education. When I say education, I mean like they're not teaching us anything. They're not exposing anything that's of interest.
They're not trying to correct the problems.
They're not trying to correct the problems.
It's like
it's crazy.
It's like, you know, folks are running for office and they have great intent to help folks, our fellow mankind, and develop policies. But the higher you climb up that ladder, the less focus you have on your original intent. That's because money gets in the way and lobbyists get in the way and people are throwing money your way, and you need money to advertise and to put your name out there. And so it's just it gets convoluted. And unfortunately, they work for those folks who are supporting them monetarily. And politics to help the people falls by the wayside. So it's the haves and the have-nots. It's a tragedy. And but that's where our politics is today.
It is. It's a real tragedy.
It's a tragedy.
And I mean, since like
now, how do we correct it?
Everything that we do, everything that drives us, you know, that you would think that we would have a North Star in regards to ethical standards, a North Star in regards to just civility. But our North Star is always built towards money. It's all guided towards money. We can't depend on the politicians because many of them, I should say, even if they go into this business or into this career with the best intentions, once they get there, they understand that, you know, if you're a congressman, you're only going to be there for 2 years. Yeah. So you may actually do your job for one year,
and then the other year you're trying to get reelected.
And then, and then the other year you have to do fundraising and trying to get reelected. And then during
the
year where you're trying to get along, you're getting along to try to make yourself well known. So you come out with as much bluster. You're as loud and as
obnoxious.
It's
as like a reality show. Politics is a reality
and
show.
during that time, you're trying to gerrymander districts to assure that you will be reelected because you want everyone that's voted for you in the past to vote for you again. It's crazy. I don't know what the answer is, but I know what
the answer is.
What's the answer?
Fire everybody. Okay.
Now, I've thought about that before too.
I mean, of course we can't do that.
I know we can't do that, but seriously, there are certain things that require institutional knowledge. So let's just say that you need some people. I don't know if they should raise the term limit for people in the House of Representatives. Since the House of Representatives is always the most volatile of the two chambers. The Senate, because they have 6-year terms, the Senate tends to be more stable. I think that stability comes with the fact that a lot of them have job stability for at least 6 years. Yeah. The House is more, they say it's refreshed because of the people. They better reflect the people. But because of the way the system works, I'm not sure if that's quite the case. I think that they have so much job insecurity for just 2-year terms that they try to get in there and do stuff that's completely of a short-term gain. Yeah, so that they can become reelected
for their gain, not necessarily gain of the people.
Exactly.
Well, they'll maybe go with the majority of the constituents, so they'll be popular, as opposed to focusing on what the people. Yeah. Now, if there was one party, we wouldn't have this. Of course, that's not going to happen. We need someone to represent both sides. You made a comment a couple of weeks ago about how there needs to be a balance.
There needs to be,
and so you have to have a balance in this economy, in this world. Republicans and Democrats are supposed to be left side, right side, and be able to fall somewhere in the middle, as they both strive for the same objective, and that is to work hard for the people and to make this country better. But unfortunately, everyone has become so selfish, and it's been virtually since Obama was elected. There's been a war against the Republicans Democrats and Republicans from both sides, opposite sides.
Yeah, well, it's a lot that's in that, but I think the best scenario, which is not a likely scenario, at least not in my lifetime, is if we did have a 3-party system. But because we only have a 2-party system, we need for both of those parties to be at their A game.
What would be that third party? That would be
some independent party. But the reason why I say we need 3, because if you only have 2,
we have an independent party.
Yeah, I mean, but a strong, viable
independent party, right?
Independent party, a strong, viable third party, and the odds of that happening, because there's vested interest in the 2-party system, and those 2 people that are in the game, they don't want anyone else in the game,
right?
Although they know that they
And that's
they
their
work
answer.
in collusion in certain respects.
Right. But
You
that's
know?
their answer, I think. An
Yeah.
independent party.
A strong independent party.
independent party.
See, because when you only have those two parties, you either have gridlock where nothing gets done because they're constantly infighting. It's like having either 2 kids or 3 kids. If you only have 2 kids, those kids they're either going to be very close and like they great siblings, or they're not close at all. If you have 3 kids, lots of times you have a tiebreaker.
Mm-hmm.
You have someone that can kind of play the referee, and then you can sway. And so it just seems, in my humble opinion, that because we have this 2-party system, we really need the Republicans to step up their game and try to push out the racist element. Just try to push it out. I mean, if the best you can, push it out, because you
it's
need.
deep seated though.
It's deep seated, but it doesn't have to be.
No,
It doesn't have to be. I know that those people are going to vote somewhere. I mean, not every Republican by any means. Vast majority. When I say vast majority, I like to say in the upper 90 percentile are not racist. But if you are racist, you're probably a Republican.
You're probably a Republican.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean if
because you
you're
don't have
Republican.
another choice.
Exactly, and so because of that, the Republicans, in my opinion, should push those people out, become more of an inclusive party. In their minds, they think they are inclusive, but obviously not, because their number one candidate, their spokesperson that they don't like, Mr. Donald Trump, he's just ostracizing and alienating all types of different groups.
Maybe we should have a racist party. At least we know who they are. Everybody, if you're racist, stand up. Join this party.
Yes.
You know? Hey, why not? Don't be a closet racist.
Because I don't want all Democrats to have all power. Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Absolutely.
So if you have one party that's in power all the time too much, then they don't have to work for anything.
But we're not dealing with that right now.
Well,
Democrats
the state of California, for the most part, has had to deal with that. But at the same time, we need. That's why we. But we can go.
We're
in
not
that,
corrupt in California. We're peace,
you
love,
never
and
know.
happiness. Come
Yeah.
to Cali. Go to the beach.
But if you think about it, right now, the Republicans, for the most part, that party is becoming a party that's being relegated to the South, primarily the Deep South.
Deep South, Louisiana, Alabama.
And older white men.
Right.
So if you're dealing with just one region and older white men, and you got the plain states, like the states that I call my second home. Like my second home is like Kansas and stuff like that. I love people there, but you have those plain states, but they don't have the population density to make much of a difference in any sort of electoral.
I bet Judge
system.
Aaron Persky was a Republican, or he's a Republican.
No,
that's the judge that let that kid get off down there for raping that girl
at Stanford.
Yeah, Bruce Turner.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what his political affiliation was.
That was amazing. Can you? I mean, if that was anyone else other than a guy at Stanford University on the swim team, if that was a guy from Howard University, let's say, he would be under the jail.
Yeah. I was watching. I think it was Bill Maher. And I love Bill Maher. If you guys don't watch Bill Maher, Real Time with Bill Maher, you should check it out. He's great. Well, he was speaking about that if that kid from Stanford was, some
Bruce Turner, the guy's name.
Yeah. If he was not from a privileged background, and
or Brock, I'm sorry, Brock Turner.
Brock, yeah.
Brock.
That this would have been an entirely different story.
Of course.
Yeah, and we all know that. And the fact that we know that, it's a bad thing, but I mean, what are we going to do about it?
You can't do anything about it, but you just shake your head like,
Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's just so much going on right now. And you hear about the kid that was snatched,
the alligator, the 2-year-old kid. I can't, I have kids, and if I had that's the worst. That's a nightmare. That's the absolute worst nightmare.
It just seems like it's always
and it's in Disneyland.
Disneyland. It seems like there's just so much going on stuff.
That's in Florida too, right?
That's in Florida too. So, I don't want to get on that too much because I have a soft spot for kids.
Yeah, we all do.
We all do. As we should.
It was tragic, but at least they found him in one piece. It's not, so that maybe there's some solace in that fact. But
yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess if there's any solace,
he drowned as opposed to
yeah. But I also wonder whether or not they would even report it accurately if he was devoured. Whether or not we want to hear that. Whether or not they would kind of try to protect.
I don't think they'd lie. They would just avoid it.
Yeah.
I think maybe.
I don't know.
But anyway, I'm just my heart goes out to the family, and God bless you.
Yeah, God bless you to the family out there. So I wanted to talk about the Republican race. The GOP is very concerned about their prospective nominee, Mr. Trump. This is why they're concerned. Mr. Trump seems not to be able to control his mouth, and he says things that it's not good for the party as a whole. Now, he does have his avid followers. He has his avid supporters, and they support him. Some of them support him because of legitimate policy issues, the way he wants to deal with trade, the way he deals with the way he speaks about strong national defense. But he says stuff that will really make it difficult for either him to get elected or other Republicans down ticket to be elected.
Right.
And next year, the Senate is up for grabs. They probably have House seats that are up for grabs. Most are the Senate, I believe, because the House seats, because of gerrymandering, the odds of them losing the House, I'm not certain, but we'll see. But it's.
I mean, they're terrified. The party doesn't know where they stand,
and they can't control him.
They can't control him. They don't want to back him, but they're forced into a position where they have to.
Yeah.
He's continuing to just blab and make the party look worse. And like you said, there's other seats that are up for grabs that he may cause the Republican Party. I mean, listen, his followers. I don't know how many millions of followers he has. He's got a significant group of folks. I know that his standing is dropped beneath 40%.
Yeah, exactly.
When you compare apples to oranges with Hillary Clinton. So is that enough to get him into office? No, I don't think so. Are they going to be able to raise enough dollars to push with the advertising and all the things they need to do to penetrate the American marketplace to get folks to vote for him and send a new clear message? I don't think so, and that's what the Republicans are most concerned about.
I think
right
that he has a level of personal charisma, believe it or not, that could work well if he were focused and controllable to a certain extent, which is kind of follow the party line. I think that because of his power of celebrity, because of his name and brand recognition, because of the way he kind of stormed through the entire process in the primaries, that he could actually be a formidable opponent to Hillary, because Hillary is so disliked. I'm saying in reality he could.
I mean, it is what it is. Right.
Because
he's there.
A lot of people just don't like Hillary. Yeah. The best thing Hillary has going for her right now is that on the other side of the aisle we have Donald Trump to choose from.
You see that Cole commercial with her and Bill Clinton? Clinton. They have them side by side, and he's saying, I want you to listen to me now. I did not have sexual relations with that. Then they have Hillary on the other side, split screen television. I did not send out messages on my server or something to that effect. So they were like comparing apples, to apples.
And,
it was pretty tough. It was
I don't, and also with that, I don't know if it's a messaging issue, but I always wonder why on this email server deal, why she just didn't just come out and just own it, because
did she deny that?
Yeah, well, she tried to. It got to a point where she had to deny, and if I don't know, maybe because she's a Clinton and they've been under scrutiny for so long, you can develop like a paranoia.
Right.
So I think that if she would have came out and said, "Listen, I was wrong. I shouldn't have done this," and instead of kind of equivocating, just say, "No, it's wrong. I shouldn't have done this." But for 25 years, we have been dealing with political enemies, this and the other, and I just don't trust. And so I wanted to have all of our stuff just secret for us, just so I think that a certain part of America can kind of understand that. If you've ever been spied on, and if people are always looking at you, you kind of fight for privacy. You will fight, and if she came out and it's not necessarily the victim, but
you're
just
defensive.
kind of explain her paranoia and defensiveness, it would have made her, in my opinion, seem to be more human.
Yeah.
As opposed to being devious. See, because of the way she went about it, it made her seem as if she was devious, and that's just not what she needs.
Right.
She needs to just appear as more human instead of being calculating. So I would have, in a certain way, I would have said to him, "Listen, for 25 years, I've had what I call the vast right wing conspiracy. I've had this going on with this going on, and it came to my stuff, and also the other secretaries of state in the past have used theirs. The only step beyond that I took was having my own server, and that's just for privacy issues. I'm a former first lady, and my husband is a former president, and we just felt like we just needed to keep stuff private.
So imagine this. I mean, you've got your phone here. You got your smartphone, right? And she's the chief of the State Department, and she's got her office emails, right? Yeah. So at times you just send an email from your phone, which is your own private email server, right? Or you send it from your desk. And I think that, that's kind of what the controversy was all about. I mean, you can easily get confused, or just out of a matter of convenience, send a message from your phone or your private server, just because you can, and it's technology. And so I don't see, it's not as if she was, it's not an espionage question.
Yeah.
It's just a mistake or an oversight, and she just needs to say, "Hey, listen, you know what? I did it. I'm sorry."
There's so many things that if she was just admit the vulnerability, it would have helped. Now, like again,
like Clinton finally did with the
on the whole
three strikes
on the whole Clinton thing. Now, I told you this, and I think I've said this on the show before. And if she does it, remember, she got the idea from me. Because this is not my first time saying this, and I've said it to a few friends of mine as well.
I hope you're listening, Hillary.
Listen to me, Hillary. I'm going to get you off. So if someone like Donald Trump was bringing up about the fact that Hillary Clinton helped enable Bill because of what Bill did, and how she called him a sexist, but she's living with a sexist and Bill Clinton. What I would do at one of my rallies, if I was Hillary, I would take Bill by the hand and say, "Listen,
that's right.
I've been with this man for 40-something years. We're still married. Donald, you wouldn't know anything about that, because every time your marriage got troubling, you left and went and got somebody else. You've been married 3 times." He says, "So through thick and thin, me and Bill stayed together."
There you go.
Just say that.
Just say that.
And then let Bill come to her like, how he
big
is.
Fat kiss.
He'll come to her and try to give her a kiss, and she'll say, "No, I'm mad at you right now." I'll push him away. And they will love her. She said, "No, I'm mad at you right now." Just kind of push her. They will love her.
Yeah.
Just embrace it and just move on. It'll make her seem more human.
Right.
So if she does that, remember, I'm the one that gave her the idea. Yeah. Just do that. So she has to bring him on.
Just be real, basically.
Be real. Don't be so calculated all the time. I mean, not everybody can have the real thing. Like, I believe President Obama and his wife are really into each other.
They love each other.
If they're not, they faking that stuff so good.
Academy Award.
So well, I should say. But I think they're really into each other. And then you could look at, and I believe that George W. Bush and his wife Laura Bush are really into each other. But Bill and Hillary, they tend to come off as more of a business type of.
It's a business relationship.
Yeah. Because her ambition is so high, so she's trying to do this, and his ambition is so high. Now, everybody has ambitions, but they just seem to be like more calculating.
Right.
So I don't know. This is be a chance for her to.
I think America feels that way as well, and that's why they don't. I think that's part of the trust issue.
I hear you. I just don't know. I mean, I can say I don't know. I'm learning as I speak to a lot of my friends of why they just don't trust her. But I'm telling you, don't trust her all you want. We've had bad presidents in the past. We'll survive a bad president. I don't know if we can survive a Trump.
I don't think
that's
so.
An entirely
the world
different
cannot
deal.
survive a Trump.
Again, this is like a binary decision. It's either 0 or 1. You either going for Hillary or going for Trump. A non-vote actually assists
for Trump. Yeah.
Because they're depending on low turnout and for people to be a little bit complacent and not turn out to the polls, and that favors Trump. Usually lower turnouts favor the Republican Party just because demographically it's a smaller percentage of the political electorate are Republicans. So
vote, people. Go online, vote at home. You can register right now at home to vote. You don't even have to go anywhere.
But let me tell you how twisted I am. I've told you about this. If, let's just say in a hypothetical dream world, if Colin Powell came out and said, "You know what, Donald Trump is unacceptable as the Republican nominee, I've decided to run,"
it would not.
I would vote for Colin Powell.
Oh yeah.
I would vote for. I would vote for. So it's not that.
So wait, let me ask you this.
What?
So you realize if a Republican gets in office, all of the policies that Obama has put in place will fall by the wayside, including Obamacare, which, incidentally, the industry is now falling in line, the medical industry, the pharmaceutical companies, and are falling in line to make it work and change policies. I mean, they know how to do it, but they just weren't sure it was good. So do you realize that would happen?
Not if it's Colin Powell. Remember, Colin Powell endorsed President Obama.
Did he endorse President Obama?
He endorsed President Obama.
That doesn't mean he endorses all of his policies today.
No, but I think that something
I'd have to find out what he stands for.
There's certain things that have empirical evidence that is proven that is changing the trajectory of the country in the right direction.
Right.
And then you also have things that are just flat out wrong, or not flat out wrong, but it's not working with, you look at empirical evidence and look at the scientific research of whether or not this program is working, that program's not working. Mm-hmm. If you look at the long-term trajectory of the Affordable Care Act, quote unquote Obamacare, long-term is going to work. Now, you got to also remember this. For 90-something years, presidents have been trying to get some sort of universal national health care system in the United States.
It started with the Republicans.
It started with the Republicans. It goes all the way back, I want to say, to Teddy Roosevelt, maybe.
That's right.
That wanted to get universal. And Richard Nixon was Republican, because they saw what the costs of health care were doing to our GDP.
Right.
They saw the cost of health care was starting to get to a point where it's out of control, and government health care costs were out of control. So they needed to do something about it.
Right.
Now, President Obama, being the ultimate pragmatic and what's the word I'm looking for when you're trying to find the meeting of the minds,
peacemaker.
He's trying to bring parties together and trying to be inclusive.
Right.
He used a Republican's plan. This is not a single payer healthcare system where it's just free healthcare for everybody, like Bernie Sanders talking about a single payer. This is something that's more of a Republican plan, wherein there are still private insurance companies wherein you have to pay into the system if you can't afford it. It's not just free for everybody. You have to pay. So these are the Republican tenets. The Republican tenets of pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Even if you don't have boots, just do it.
Right.
So he,
as if we all have equal opportunity.
The word I was looking for is compromise. He compromised and put a lot of Republican ideas into this. And yet still, because it came from him, even though Mitt Romney implemented it in Massachusetts,
yeah. And it works.
And it worked in Massachusetts, and they were saying how great it was when it was in Massachusetts. But then, when he was on the presidential stage, now they changed their mind because now President Obama is crazy.
Even Mitt Romney. That's politics. It's all BS.
Politics. So, before we go too far, I need to give a shout out to our sponsors.
Yes.
We have a few new sponsors. Fantastic. And as a matter of fact, if you're thinking about advertising on the show, you need to contact us. We are, we're averaging over 12,000 listeners a week.
Wow. I understand we're the fastest growing show here.
We are the fastest growing.
Yeah. Fantastic.
It's fantastic. And so that means that I'm going to have to really watch what I say. I know my parents are listening.
Yeah, my mom's on board now. She says you are she said he's a handsome guy. He's almost as handsome as you. Thanks, Bob. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mom.
So you come in second.
Thank you, Mom. Yeah. So our primary sponsors is Javago Watches.
Javago.
Here's why I have one. This is my favorite one. I think it's called, do I have it up?
Yeah.
I think it's called the Gleesy.
The Gleesy.
It's nice.
Yeah. That's a nice watch, man.
It's a very nice watch.
Whenever we step out and you've got that watch on, people just walk up and compliment you on that watch.
You guys need to go to Javago Watches. As a matter of fact, I think that what I may try to do is I'm going to talk to the manufacturer and see if I can have some sort of prize or something where I can send you one of these Javago
that'd be
watches.
Fantastic.
That would be
That's
fantastic.
A good idea.
I'm going to see if I can do that.
That'd be a great idea.
So for listeners that call in at a certain time, I'm going to set it up to send you one of these watches, and it will definitely be something. And so Javago Watches, go to www.javagowatches.com. They have men's and women's fashions. It's great. And you can also get them on Amazon as well.
Right. I want to give a shout out our other advertiser, Sharon Penny Homes. Sharon Penny.
Thank you, Sharon.
Los Angeles, California. She's located in Valencia, but she sells homes in Southern Cal and does a fabulous job.
Absolutely.
So Sharon Penny Homes, SharonPenny.com. Mm-hmm. Check her out if you're looking to move to California, Los Angeles area. Give Sharon a shout out. Sharon Penny Homes.
That's right.
Yep.
Thank you, Sharon Penny. Thank you, Javago Watches. And also, I got to give a shout out to my brother Woody Wilson.
Oh, what's up, man? What you want to say?
One of the
get it right now.
Finest custom clothiers in the city.
I appreciate
Bespoke.
Yes, bespoke.
He told me what that meant.
Yeah. So custom. A lot of folks do custom
stuff.
Clothing.
His stuff is
Premier.
If you watch a lot of the red carpet events,
we're working on Anthony Anderson actually
with
for
Woody
BET,
stuff on.
BET Awards today. Yeah, so he came through.
So they
Thanks, Ron.
do a couple name drops for me of the
Oh,
people
man,
that you
I hate
that
the
you
name drop because it's
do
the
it. You gotta
everyday
do
guys
it.
that
People,
come in. That really okay. So where do we start? We'll start
Okay.
with A. We'll start with Anthony Anderson.
There you go.
Start with, rest in peace, my man Bernie.
Bernie
I
Mac.
was thinking Bernie, but
Yeah.
it's if you go to woodywilson.com, you'll see a whole. We've been in business for 20 years, so there's a litany of folks, and I don't want to leave someone out and hurt someone's feelings by not including them. So woodywilson.com. Actually, we're launching our new site very soon. So
really?
Shout out to Bonnie
Very cool.
Edwards. Yeah.
Can I get something so that I won't be over here in a T-shirt?
Yeah, man, I'll get you a button. We'll pin it right in the center of your T-shirt.
Hey, listen, guys, if you guys ever want to call in, Facebook has been fantastic too. We stream live.
Yeah.
So we stream live on Facebook. We have a YouTube channel.
Yes.
We also, I want to say it's on, I don't never use Stitcher. I don't know this. And we have our app, the UBN radio app.
Right.
So for those companies that want to continue to advertise on the show, one reason that they love it so much is the fact that once you're on our show, you're on there for perpetuity. So whenever someone goes to the YouTube channel and looks up an older show, your advertisement is still there,
right?
And so it's
That's
always out there. Yep. And so we also got to get a shout out to our producer extraordinaire, Mr. Jarvis.
Jarvis in the house.
Jarvis S is over there, Mr. Conspiracy Theorist.
Oh man,
there's something
don't get him
out
started.
there.
Don't get
there's
him started.
Something out
dude.
there. If you guys have ideas from the show, you can call in. And not, of course, it's the number out here is 323-843. Is it 2826?
2826.
2826.
Right.
I remember. Yeah, fantastic. I remember.
Good job, man.
All right, yeah. 323-843-2826. Or you can reach us by email at ronnie.frierson@gmail.com. And the subject heading, put in focus so we'll know what you're talking about.
Post the comments on the web, on the Facebook page.
So what we want to say as I close out, I want to say that it's a lot of stuff going on in the world. The only thing that we have control over is ourselves.
That's right.
So I always believe that the energy that you put out, you get back. Respect is given and earned. And so everyone out there, if you respect yourself, respect others, and understand, just be open to the world and don't let the 24-hour news cycle, if you watch the news all the time, it could be so depressing.
Oh man,
Understand
especially local news.
Life is a precious gift and it's temporary. So remember what's important and act accordingly.
Yeah,
act accordingly. And the stuff about the terrorism and stuff, we're going to get more into what's going on in the world next week. It has a lot of stuff going on overseas. We used to have these two oceans that kind of protected us in certain respects, but now it's coming at us, and it's coming at us through cybercrime and hacking computers and things of that sort. We obviously have ISIS, who is taking Al-Qaeda's game to another level in regards to inspiring homegrown mentally ill people, as I like to say, that use their banner as motivation for them to commit crimes here within the United States. It's a lot of stuff going on. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit more next week. But
yeah,
I want to close out by thanking all of you for listening to us just about every week. We get a lot of regular listeners. Now, thank you for the emails that I get, and we're going to continue to bring you quality programming as long as we're on air. So,
yes.
Signing off for myself, Mr. Ron Frierson,
Woody
Wilson, and Jarvis Essex, our producer extraordinaire. Thank you. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
That's right.
Happy Father's Day to my father. I love you, Pops. You know that. He was here
cool
last
dude,
week.
Man.
Yeah, he's the coolest.
Yes, he is.
He's the coolest. He looks younger than I do.
Man, I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he does it.
It's my mother. My mother's keeping him young. Love both of you guys. So, happy Father's Day. Thank you guys for listening to us. Have a great weekend, and we'll be back again next week.
Those barbecue pits going.
Peace.
Peace, love, happiness.